What?
You want to ask me a question?
Oh. What is one
He'll be doing his
non-sexual?
own work.
What is one non-sexual thing about me that you find attractive?
um, I love watching you get dressed. I love watching you do your routine. Like you have Phil is very clean and he's very mindful of his hygiene and his body and how he presents himself. So he's very he has a routine that he does every whenever he's getting ready, even if he's going to work. And so I love watching you get dressed, do your little face stuff, put how you how you put your socks on. Like I watch you how you put your socks on. It's just stuff I pay attention to. But that's one of the things that that's why I get mad when you about to go. That's why I get mad when you about to go, because by the time I watch you get dressed, I'll be wanting you to stay with me. What about you? What's something non-sexual that you find attractive? Hey, Taylor.
Um, Watching you work.
Really?
Yeah. Um, I don't know. It's something about just how you be focused and you be when you find your rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you be
Okay.
you be getting it done.
Oh, okay.
You
I
be
didn't know it.
typing and then you hit your glasses one time. Yeah.
Not hit the glass.
Hit your glasses one time.
Okay, so we started with that question because intimacy really starts outside of the bedroom. And so focusing on those non-sexual things that you find attractive. Um, and you know I love to watch you dance
Mm-hmm.
and stroll and anything that has to do with music. I done got distracted. I started thinking about all the things. Anything that has to do with like music or rhythm. Like, yeah, I love watching that. But anyway, intimacy starts outside of the bedroom. So let's start with defining. Y'all know how I am about words. Words matter. So let's ground ourselves in a shared definition of intimacy. So one definition says that it is a feeling of being close and emotionally connected and supported. It means being able to share a whole range of thoughts, feelings, and experiences that we have as human beings. So another definition that I really, really liked says two or more people sharing their reality without undue fear of rejection or retaliation. And so their reality is really important because that's where your vulnerability comes in. Because everyone experiences the world differently. And so if I feel comfortable enough to share my reality with you and my experiences and my truth, then that means I feel emotionally safe and then I get to experience that intimacy. And there's no fear of like judgment, rejection, retaliation.
Yeah.
I like to just think of it as letting someone have access to you that the general population or the world doesn't have access to.
Right.
So it's a personal space. It's something that I hold close to me. But once I trust you, then I let you see that part of me too.
Mm-hmm.
And so intimacy, I believe, is we've been talking a lot about communication. If you all haven't seen episode 2 or 3, make sure that you watch those replays. Put hashtag life in the gray. Episode 2 was just about achieving clarity in our communication, making sure that you know what we were talking about, that we were understanding each other. And then last week we had a phenomenal conversation about how to stay in sync as we grow. So as we age and as we evolve, how do we make sure that we don't grow apart? And communication has a huge part in that. And so intimacy is the foundation, I believe, of communication. So we've been talking a lot about communication, but like you can't really connect and show somebody like this vulnerable part of you, um, if you don't have that closeness that you develop through communication.
Yeah, it's vital because it just helps you maintain the the balance in your relationship, and it helps maintain the I guess evolution too, because if you intimate with one another, you know what I'm saying, like you said, that's sharing with the person the most inner parts of yourself that everybody else or the outside world doesn't get. So you just maintain that bond, and that y'all stay solid and close knit. It's more, it's harder to you know get in between
Mm-hmm.
two people the closer they are. It's harder for minor problems to
Mm-hmm.
just kind of interrupt your relationship, as opposed to not having a real bond or a friendship. It might take something real small and minor to, what I'm saying, cause a real major conflict. But if y'all are really close and intimate and have a strong bond that's really solidified, y'all can just brush that off, with a conversation.
Right.
So it's definitely needed, and just like everything in your relationship, you got to work on that as well. You got to work to get better at it, work to evolve, and all those things.
So we're going to talk about 7 types of intimacy, because intimacy is a broad statement. And so we're going to talk about 7 types. There's different folks who, some people believe in 4 types, some people believe in 6, some people believe in 8. We kind of just looked through and found the ones that made sense for us. And so we're going to share 7 types. And I want you all, as we're sharing these 7 types, if you've experienced this kind of intimacy, I would like you to put in the comments like the way that you have experienced it. So provide your own example if you feel comfortable and safe enough. Provide your own example of that kind of intimacy.
This is a judge-free zone.
It's a safe place. And make sure y'all are sharing the live as well. Pull in some more folks to have this conversation with us. But let's start with the 7 types of intimacy.
There are, again, 7 types of intimacy. You have physical, sexual, emotional, intellectual, creative, energetic, or what is the other word?
Experiential.
Experiential. And then you have spiritual. So, first and foremost, of course, is the most commonly known type of intimacy is physical. Kissing, touching, all of that. I think that is, in my opinion, I think it's the easiest one, because again, we are physical beings, so that's what is pleasing to us, is the physical. So some of the things that we do is like if we leave the house or come in the house, we kiss, we hold hands, like any type of physical touch, leg grabbing, booty smacking, it don't matter. I mean, just it creates a connection, for those of you like us, we spend a lot of time on different schedules. So, yeah.
So I want to highlight something that was interesting about physical intimacy that they included here was hair washing.
Hair washing.
Washing each other's hair. And I thought about, we don't wash each other's hair, but I thought about like back in the day when you would like grease your boyfriend's scalp. Not you, but me.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking to the women. When you would like grease, like he would sit between your legs and you like Or even how I comb your hair, like massage your scalp. Like these things that seem very like basic, but it's some type of physical intimacy. Just that physical connection.
It was. I didn't really like that. Like
You didn't
picking on
like
my
it.
hair.
You didn't like your. You like when I touch your
I
scalp.
mean, now I do, but it was for a different reason because when I used to get it done, I didn't.
Oh
It
really?
was it was painful
Oh well, yeah,
because you know what
yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't really care for that. That's just me. But I had
Nina said
reasons.
she used to line Brandon up.
Yeah, like that's intimate. Like that's
Yeah.
that's definitely a form of intimacy. You know what I'm saying? That is um very that's not common. You know what I'm saying? But it's a good type. It's good though because in that moment, not only are having that physical intimacy, but that creates a space for the emotional intimacy. And so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? It just opens the door for other things in that moment to be intimate as well, just from physical touch.
Physical intimacy, not to be confused with sexual
Yeah,
intimacy. So those two things are sometimes used interchangeably, but sexual and physical intimacy are not the same. Physical intimacy often leads to sexual intimacy, but it's not
yeah,
the same. So you want to talk about you? I guess it's kind of obvious what sexual intimacy is, right?
yeah. I mean,
Intercourse, anything that has to do directly with sex would be your sexual intimacy. So you can have, like, I enjoy physical intimacy. I don't have to always have sex, but I like to cuddle. I like to kiss. I like to touch, right? Because that makes me feel close.
I don't know. I would. That was something I would be interested to know. Is like when you have physical intimacy, how many females like feel like that? How many women feel like that? Like I can have physical intimacy, but I don't necessarily need the sexual intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or do you want the physical intimacy to lead to the sexual intimacy? Like that's an interesting question. Like I'm gonna see if I can find any statistics on that because that's very interesting.
Do you think that men usually like connect physical to sexual intimacy more than women do?
Yes, yes,
Yes, without a question.
yes. Of course we do.
All right, the next one.
Emotional intimacy. Um, that is one that I had to work on. Um, Sharing your feelings, um, just being vulnerable with your partner. That is very important um, because if they don't know how you feel, then they don't know how to engage you sometimes, or they don't know what to say to you in those moments where you feeling a little depressed, or you feeling rejected or abandoned, and not necessarily because of them, but just some things that you have that you're working on. So emotional intimacy is um, something that I had to work on. I didn't, and let me say this. This is off subject. It ain't off subject, but um, it because it's for me. Emotional intimacy is needed for your children too, because if you don't tell your children your feelings, then when they grow up, they're not going to tell people their feelings or their significant other their feelings. So because I didn't have a lot of men to express their feelings around me and to me,
Yeah.
as I got older, I picked that up and I then held my feelings back as a man dealing with other men, my friends, telling them, what I'm saying, hey man, like, whatever the conversation is, or man, you should do X, Y, and Z, man. You should do this, or you need to talk to somebody. Like those things as men, um, dealing with our friends, like we need to be able to have those conversations about how to deal with our emotions in a healthy way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I got older, now that I'm a man and in these relationships, I'm not expressing myself. I'm
Mm.
not telling you how I feel. I'm not telling you the way you uh, said that to me made me feel away, or I'm just feeling like I just, what I'm saying, want some time to myself, what I'm saying, which is nothing wrong, but, because I didn't say that, now you here and you talking to me or you want to be around me, and now I'm kind of standoffish, and I'm making you feel like rejected and I don't want you. Like, it's just a snowball effect
Yeah.
because of the lack of emotional intelligence or intimacy, or lack thereof. Yeah.
That's good, babe.
You ain't got nothing to say?
I don't got nothing to say. You did it. You did that. You can go to the next one.
Creative intimacy, intellectual, excuse me, intellectual intimacy, deep, meaningful, insightful conversations, and I guess having those conversations, and it's not really, it can lead to some emotional intimacy, but it's just really those conversations that just make you think about um, other things, about worldly things, I don't know, like just other things, not dealing necessarily with your relationship or with your spouse, but just like really, I guess, intellectual conversation or smart conversation. I don't know.
So I feel like you enjoy intellectual intimacy because you like a lot of like documentaries and histories, and like you are a person. Somebody was like, matter of fact, it was cute. She was like, I feel like he just knows a lot about a lot of things, or he knows a little bit about a lot of stuff. And so you like to be able to engage anybody about any topic at hand. So I definitely feel like you enjoy that intellectual intimacy, y'all. As we share these types, make sure to share in your own examples of these kinds of intimacy that you experience. So far as physical, sexual, well, you ain't gotta share that. We get it. Emotional and intellectual. So when you think about intellectual intimacy, what have been some of your experience with that kind of intimacy? I love talking about black everything, black studies, history, art. I love analyzing movies and finding themes and stuff like that. So that's the kind of like intellectual intimacy that I enjoy. The next kind of intimacy we're going to talk about is creative. And so the word of God is scripture. Yes. Creative is when you make things together. So you see a lot of creative intimacy between like artists. When artists come together and get on a song, and you feel like you be like, are they together for real? You watch the music video and you like, wait a minute, they look like they go together. That's creative intimacy. So things that you are coming together with the arts, and maybe music or any type of experience when you're making something together, that would be your creative energy or creative intimacy.
You like that too?
Yeah, absolutely. Even listening to music together, I think, and like when we talk about like the music and how it makes us feel, I feel like a lot of that could be creative. Um, yes. Experiential or energetic. So this is kind of intimacy goes with making memories together. So he and I love to travel. We go on excursions. We even if we used to ride bikes downtown Memphis, y'all. This before we got a little bit out of shape. This was this before or after COVID? before COVID.
No, this was around
It was
COVID.
during COVID. So we had started riding bikes downtown Memphis. And I'm talking about this one day we had this hill, baby. I had to get off my bike and push it up. But that kind of like experience where you have this adventure and your blood is pumping, right? It's doing something to you and y'all are feeling connected. We got stranded one time. We was in the hood, too tired to come back. We had to call an Uber to come get us. We left the bike somewhere. So that is um experiential. So creating those memories, riding roller coasters, hiking. We was over there by that McDonald's off of Poplar. We was riding through the neighborhood and we was like, how did we get off the main road?
Over there by the gym?
Yeah. Anyways,
That's
it was that day.
That was mid-time.
It was the hood that day. So, eye gazing is another form of energetic energy, which is a kind of experiential. So, eye gazing. I'm trying to. You remember?
You talking about like staring at each other?
Yes. So I had him do that.
Ain't that like? That's not. That ain't emotion.
No, because there's no feeling. There's nothing being shared. You just staring at each other.
Energy is being shared. I guess.
It's energetic intimacy.
But it creates an emotional.
It's not emotional love. So I read a study that said that couples, after they met for the first time, they had them stare in each other's eyes for like 5 minutes straight, and like a huge percentage of those couples got married afterwards. That's how powerful eye gazing is. It's the exchange of energy. So I had him do that when we were like early dating. It was like an experiment, but it might have worked because we did get married.
We did that?
You don't remember I had you do that? We just talked about it not that long ago. And you were like, remember you had me staring at your eyes? Anyways, the last kind of intimacy is spiritual intimacy. So spiritual intimacy, of course, is any type of spiritual experience that you all share. It could be your prayer time together. It could be doing yoga or stretching, mindfulness activities. Deep breathing can be extremely intimate when you deep breathe with your partner. So those are examples of spiritual intimacy. So we want to see what you all do and how you yes, Dr. C, building your business together. I thought about y'all when I was doing my notes for this. Absolutely. Seeing your houses come together and all of that. Absolutely. Oh, I love it. I love it. But we need all forms of intimacy to be fulfilled. And we might not necessarily experience all those with our partner. That's why we have friends and friend circles. But as people, we definitely need all those forms of intimacy to feel most fulfilled.
Yeah. So, out of the 7, which do you feel like we are really good at?
I feel like I can't pick just one, but I feel like we have gotten physical and sexual. Sexual intimacy is definitely at the top. We've gotten better with physical intimacy because that was kind of like a struggle for us at one point. Because you had a hard time separating like physical from sexual, and I was asking for a lot of physical, and I feel like you thought I was asking for a lot of sex, but I was. So I feel like sexual is up there. I feel like intellectual is up there.
I mean, that's how you know men get it kind of like the...
Absolutely. I'll put those two together.
Yeah.
So sexual, intellectual, for sure. And emotional. I think we've gotten really, really good at emotional intimacy. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, of course, sexual. We've gotten really good at emotional. And exponential.
Experiential.
Yeah, experiential. And I'm gonna say last one.
How many you name?
3.
You about to do a 4th one?
Do I not need to do a fourth?
You don't have to.
Oh,
Top three.
okay. Well, they're my top three.
So
Then.
sexual,
Emotional.
emotional, and experiential.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about y'all? Where do you think, you don't have to answer this question, but it's a question that I think you should ask your spouse. Where do you feel like y'all really, really get it? That area that you all are nailing, you are good at. Dr. C said we
Yeah.
are totally connected when we're dancing.
Oh, for
That's
sure.
experiential,
For
right?
sure. Mm,
Yeah.
physical.
You want to, it is physical.
That's physical.
I think it's both for me. I think it's physical and experiential. I feel like
It's
I
physical
feel like I'm in
'cause
another place when I dance with you. Like no one else exists when I dance with you. I think
it
the
got to be
touching.
It got to be physical though, because exponential or experiential is like in well, yeah. I mean, it ain't. It's well,
It's
yeah.
experiential for me.
Yeah.
Cause yeah,
I guess it depends on the person.
yeah, I think so. So, what area would you say you would like to be cultivated more? That we don't really have a lot of that kind of intimacy.
Ooh. Um. That's hard. I don't know.
I'll answer
Yeah.
because we're live.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
So I would say spiritual. I think
Yeah.
I think we've come a long way, but I think I would like to be cultivated more in spiritual intimacy.
I could ride with that.
Yeah.
I could ride with that.
Yeah. I think honestly I feel like this intimacy is about sharing your reality with that other person, and I feel like there are some things I still keep to myself spiritually. And I feel like you're the same way. I feel like there are parts of your spiritual life that I don't really know about. That we might talk about in passing, but I don't feel like we're very like open with our spiritual lives. It's only when we kind of come together in prayer.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, that's about right.
So now let's talk about some barriers to intimacy. So there are a ton of barriers to intimacy, a ton. So we're only going to talk about a few of them tonight.
So we're starting with ineffective or lack of communication, and we touched on this in episode 3, but lack of communication is definitely detrimental to your relationship and in all aspects. You have the cycles of arguments, blaming, just um, just a total breakdown of the line of communication. It definitely can throw a lot of things off. So again, just picking any one of the 7 types of intimacy can, kind of jumpstart things to getting back on the right track. But lack of communication is something that if you can identify very fast and try to, create some type of conversation, because we are human, so it's gonna be days where y'all ain't seeing eye to eye and you don't really want to talk, but you gotta push through those moments to create some type of communication or even create some type of intimacy, to create the communication.
It made me think about what you said earlier when you said the more you communicate, the closer you are, and then the closer you are, the harder it is for something to get in between you. Yeah. So when you are not communicating, you're moving further and further away from each other.
Yeah.
So now it's easy, like you said, little things can get in between you
Mm-hmm.
because y'all don't have that bond. Y'all aren't close.
Yeah. You have inattentiveness. You know, being distracted. What else? Conflicting or busy schedules. Um, that's something that we dealt with a good majority of our marriage is conflicting schedules. So let's see. Um, which of the seven you think helped us in our scheduling?
Um, I think, I think emotional intimacy was the one that helped because um, I think because we improved our emotional intimacy, there was a desire to make the time. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like a schedule and being distracted by schedules becomes an excuse. But when you have a strong emotional connection, like even if you're at work, like I'm thinking about you, like I'm texting you,
Mm-hmm.
just thinking about you,
Yeah.
you're on my mind. Um, and I'm caring for you in a way, even if it's like making your lunch or getting up and like cooking for you. I'm showing you that I love you in these other ways that don't
Yeah.
require us to be in the same space.
Yeah. I was gonna say too, experiential too.
Mm-hmm.
Like just hey, we're gonna do this. When you
Traveling
got
day
time,
nights,
yeah,
yeah.
just again, you gotta create the atmosphere that you want.
Mm.
So
Uh,
now
Talk about it.
we know that you gotta work this day, you gotta work this day. So these are the days that are open. So we just gotta do something. And that's just the bottom line. Sometimes you just gotta do it. Like, don't think about it. Just get dressed and leave the house. I don't know where we going. We going somewhere though. We looking good, so we just gonna figure out once we get in the car.
We do that a lot. So switching to control, and this was a really interesting barrier to intimacy because I never really thought about it in this way. But people who are super controlling um, create barriers to true intimacy. And so I started to read a little bit more about this. And it's because when you are controlling, when you are seeking to have control in an unhealthy way, you are seeking to control how people see you. And so because you're trying to like distort reality, you're unable to share your reality, right? So we talked about the definition of intimacy being able to like share your reality with another person. But if I'm trying to like control everything, then I am distorting reality. And so I'm creating a barrier to being able to share that reality with the person. And I think it goes hand in hand with another barrier, which is fear of being vulnerable. So because I'm afraid to be vulnerable, I'm now trying to control everything.
Yeah.
And so in my controlling, I'm not being open and letting you see like my insecurity. Because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, that's what it is. It's this insecurity that we experience as people. And instead of being like, wow, I feel really insecure right now, we try to control the situation.
Yeah.
And so it was a quote that I read. It said, control is one of the strongest barriers to intimacy because by nature, it cannot be taken. It has to be given.
Mm.
I was like,
Mm.
oh, that's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I never thought about controlling people as, but in my reflecting of that, like as someone who was really controlling, that's exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was afraid to let people see me. And I did have this fear of rejection. And so I need to control how you see me. And in that controlling, you're not seeing me.
Yeah.
You're seeing what I want you to see.
That's real.
Oh yeah, yeah. Another barrier to intimacy is fantasy. And so this could show up in a bunch of different ways. It could show up as watching too much pornography.
Mm-hmm.
When you begin to think like, this is what my sex life should look like, or this is what my spouse should be doing. Um, but you also have what I have heard called emotional porn
Yeah.
that women experience when we watch a lot of like rom coms and
Mm-hmm.
certain
Lifetime.
Lifetime and certain TV shows.
Oxygen.
And we have this idea of like, this is how men should act, right? And so if my husband doesn't come in the door with flowers every day, and or he doesn't, knock all the stuff off the table and take me right there, that I am missing something. So if we begin to compare our experiences with what we're seeing, that's not reality, and then we become disappointed.
Yeah, that is some people call it delusional, but we're not here to throw out these type of words. But so do you feel like that you ever? Because I don't feel like you have, as far as like emotional porn, but like, do you feel like
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, that was my biggest issue. Was I wanted the TV experience. I wanted the movie. I wanted the Hollywood movie love, and I wanted it to be super passionate and over the top always. And then I would be like, "What is this?" Yes, I was a hopeless romantic, and in a lot of ways, because of our emotional intimacy, you've kind of begun to be that for me. But between your lack of emotional intimacy and my unrealistic expectations, baby, we were in a horrible place. Our intimacy was in the toilet because of both of those things. We didn't have the emotional closeness, and I had these unrealistic expectations of you, baby. It is, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Nina, because that is actually, she said that's a pathway for resentment. That is actually the next barrier that we're going to talk about. Yeah. Envy, resentment, and jealousy. These are called the comparison emotions. When you begin to compare either your relationship to another relationship, or your relationship to what you see on TV, or, which has been my experience, what I have to do all day versus what you got to do all day. There was a season in our marriage that I resented you because I felt like you had life so much easier than I had, because you could just go to work and come home and watch TV and whatever you wanted to do, you could do it. Meanwhile, I'm stressed out. I'm juggling. I'm doing this. I'm in school. I got this going on. The kids got to go here. And I would look at you some days and be like, I resented that. But I had to learn that you are not a mind reader. And because I did not ask for help, because I did not express myself to you, because we did not have that emotional intimacy where we were coming together to talk, I never shared that with you. I just wanted you to get it. And that wasn't fair. And so, of course, who want to have intimacy and share their deep feelings with someone they're holding resentment toward? That's not. And I know that you probably had some resentment toward me.
I ain't gonna say, but yeah, I get, yeah. It wasn't like nothing that, mine was more so, I guess because I felt like you were expecting. I don't even think it was resentment, because I felt like you expected me to, what I'm saying, be where you were, as far as like, what I'm saying, you got your degrees and stuff like that, but that wasn't, what I'm saying,
oh no,
wasn't my, I wasn't, school was never my thing, what I'm saying, like I I did okay. You know, I could have did better if I would have been focused, but school just didn't hold my attention. So, you know, I was more technical. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Good with my hands. So that's the route I went. So I felt like you expected me to like be at that level when because you know I always say I don't want to sit at no desk. I can't sit in nobody's office. Like no, I don't want to be sitting up here listening to these whack office stories. Like let me go out there on the floor, fix these robots, and we're gonna keep it moving.
But no,
But
I never wanted that for you.
but see, that's what I'm saying. I think it was more me than you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah.
So now let's talk about some real stuff, right? Because I feel like I don't want to miss the opportunity to like be real, right? The subtitle is real talk, right? Another barrier to intimacy is poor hygiene.
Yeah.
Poor hygiene is a barrier to intimacy. I don't think we talk about that enough. And I know that, and I feel, I don't know. I'm just going to put it out there. I've experienced, or I've had conversations with folks who feel like their partners could have better hygiene. And as a result of their partner's poor hygiene, they don't engage in sexual intimacy with them. But you don't have. How do you tell your partner that they have poor hygiene?
Just tell them. What you mean? How you telling them? What you mean? You stink. Get in the shower. Wash your behind. Where, did I miss anything? Like if you could tell me everything that you feeling and or not feeling or that you need from me, I'm pretty sure you could tell me or tell them that they need to get in the shower, wash their feet, brush their teeth. You know what I'm saying? Like we in this thing for a long time, so I'm gonna need. That's a conversation that we're gonna need to have.
Have you ever had that with a woman with poor hygiene?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Um.
Did you tell her or did you just...
No, I told no. Excuse me. We need to talk.
Oh God. Okay. So
the roaches. I told you about that. The roaches. Yeah. No, we need to talk about this.
Oh my God. Okay. So also, in addition to that, you can have low self-esteem or poor body image. And so because you might feel like you're not attractive or, you have low self-esteem. And so that might cause a barrier for intimacy, or it might not allow you to be as free as you want to be because you have these feelings. Health concerns also. Mm-hmm. If you are having barriers, especially to sexual intimacy, there could be some health concerns. Certain medication affect you. I actually, true story, when I was on birth control several years ago, I noticed a big change in my libido. And I had no clue that low libido was a side effect of the birth control that I was on. And my ex at the time was very disturbed by my change, by the change that I had. I mean, very disturbed. I mean, like, are you cheating on me, kind of thing. And I'm like, I just don't want to have sex. Like, I just don't want to. And I found out after I had gotten off the birth control that low libido was a side effect. And so certain medications, we have to be careful if we're on medication. If you notice a change in your partner's sexual habits or their libido, it could be, or certain health conditions, not even the medication, but just the health condition itself could be a barrier to intimacy.
That's why it's important to see a doctor regularly especially men,
Yeah,
see your doctor regularly.
absolutely.
That is very important, um, because it could be when you hit a certain age, your testosterone levels drop.
Yeah.
You know, and you might need a little shot of testosterone.
Pick me up.
You know what I'm saying? A little cocktail. You feel me? You need to holler at your doctor about that. But again, you won't know that if you don't go to the
Yeah.
doctor very often. But every 6 months.
He's very diligent about going to the doctor. Um, so the last one we're talking about is sexual incompatibility. So we talked about this. I was surrounded by almost 100 years of wisdom last night, married couple wisdom. And we talked about sexual incompatibility and this idea that sometimes you all's libido are different. You want sex more than your partner does, or vice versa. Also, you can have different beliefs about sex. And so you could be sexually incompatible because one partner could be extremely conservative and one could be a little bit on the wild side. And so when you come together, maybe one partner is not ever fully satisfied because they need a little bit, they need a little razzle dazzle, you know. And but you have to create the emotion. Again, we're talking about the emotional intimacy that is required to be able to have these hard conversations and be like, hey, that don't really get me there. I need a little razzle dazzle. I need a little extra. So in transparency, even our issue, because for a long time there was an issue with our sexual intimacy because I seemed like I wanted it way more than you did. But when we uncovered the root of it, we found out that it was an emotional intimacy problem.
Yeah.
And so once we addressed our emotional intimacy, we were in alignment with our sexual intimacy. And so again, we're gonna start talking about how to overcome some of these barriers. But you gonna hear me say emotional intimacy a lot, cause that's where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah. The emotions can definitely be a gateway for a lot of different things.
Absolutely.
In your relationship. Communication and emotions, I think, are two of, if not the biggest things that can make or break your relationship. It's communications and emotions, because I think they work off each other. And if you don't have one, it's going to be hard to get the other. So, they, push and pull on each other all the time, because if we're not communicating, then the emotions is going to be everywhere.
And we start telling ourselves our own stories, because you're not telling me.
Be something, so I'm making something up in my head, the emotions may be there, but we ain't communicating the emotions. You know what I'm saying? So now I got all these emotional things inside of me, but it's not coming out of me. So now it's just building up, and that's where resentment comes in, and jealousy, and you know what I'm saying?
We almost didn't make it because of that very reason.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about it. So Mr. Pontoo had all these big feelings about me, but he didn't tell me. He just wanted me to know. He talks about not having men in his life who taught him how to express his emotions. And so even though he was in love with me and he had all these big feelings, he didn't tell me. And so in my mind, I was single. I was free. And I was acting like somebody who was unattached. And baby,
it was I was doing what she was doing. Like, I just expected her to know this. Like, she know.
I didn't. And I acted like somebody who didn't know. And we almost did not make it, y'all. I'll tell y'all the story on another day about I ain't never begged nobody. I I ain't never begged nobody not to leave me, baby. I had to do some groveling and some apologizing and some I'm sorry and some baby forgive me. Woo, that's another story for another day. But in this idea of cultivating emotional intimacy, there's this really interesting concept called positive need. And so this is where you articulate your needs in the positive instead of the negative. So, for example, instead of saying, you don't ever spend time with me, you don't give me enough affection, you would articulate that in the positive and say, I really would love some quality time with you.
So it's like the same as what is it, the I feel statement?
The I language, yeah. So it's it's disarming the language. Yeah. And so instead of it making it seem like something that you're not doing, yeah, it articulates it in a way of something that you need from the person that helps them to practice like empathy. Like, yeah, oh, she needs some quality time, so let me meet that need. I'm able to meet that need. Instead of focusing on the not, you focus on what that person can do, not what the person is not doing. Right? I actually started doing that with you. I didn't know that's what it was called though. I just did it the other week when I said I would love to spend some time with you. I'm missing you. Do you remember I texted you that? That was what I was doing. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but that's what I was doing.
Yeah. So let me ask you this though. So with that, do you think that will become kind of a crutch? No?
Say more.
So if you, hey, I would like to do this, or I would like to do that, or can we, you know what I'm saying? Like, over time, it would be like, I'm always asking for it instead of a person just naturally doing it.
You know, I've been delivered from that. I've been delivered from thinking that it's like telling you what I need is a negative. Yeah. So,
well, not saying you're telling me what you need. Well, not saying that it's negative. I'm just saying, do you think like there's room for a person to like kind of like that feeling to set in? Like, I'm always asking for.
I mean, you just have to focus on the goal. If the goal is to get what you need, then that's the goal. Yeah. If the goal is for this person to give me what I need without me asking, that's an unfair expectation. So at the end of the day, if you have a need and you need that need to be met, you articulate it. And that is an area of growth for me in learning how to do that. But I'm so satisfied now that I've learned how to do that, because when I ask, you give me what I need.
Yeah. Well, I was just asking because I feel like somebody was thinking that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think they were. And I think we got a few in the comments. I know we got one witness.
I thought about it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I know if I thought about it, somebody else would have thought about it.
We got one witness, definitely. So here's we talk about real talk, right? Real talk. Another way to overcome barriers of intimacy, this is sexual intimacy, is changing your pattern of initiating sex. This was huge for us too. Crystal said, you saying that's for other people. That wasn't for him. He was just saying in case somebody had that question. So changing your pattern of initiating sex. So a lot of times with a couple, there's usually an initiator and there's a responder. Yeah. And we can get comfortable in those roles. And so what happens is, if the initiator ain't initiating, then the responder starts to get upset or starts to resent, right? And so for a long time, you were the initiator, I was the responder. So if you're tired, or you've been at work, or you distracted, or you got something else, or you just want to watch the game, you might just want to watch the game. You might not initiate. And me over here as the responder, now I'm mad because I want I want some. And you ain't initiating. But what happens when I step out of my comfort zone as the responder and I begin to initiate?
Would you look at that? Look at that.
Crystal said, the kids need me. I gotta go. Get out my business. I started to initiate. And guess what? The world kept spinning. The world did not come to an end.
As the world turned.
Because Jessica had to initiate intercourse with her husband. And guess what he told me one time? He said, I like to feel desire too sometimes. And I was like, oh, I'm missing out on opportunities to make my husband feel desirable. All of these things that I love to feel, I'm taking that away from him, making him always be the one to initiate. So that's one way you can change, switch up initiation. The other way, which he is also guilty of, which I've never told him. I might have told you. I don't think I have. He had this one little thing that he did. When he did that, I knew that meant.
Yeah, he told me that. Did you say that? Or did I ask you that?
He had this one little thing, baby. And if he did that little pop, then that's how I knew it was time. It got to be so routine that it was no longer exciting. And I'm like, bro, like, can you do a dot or something? Do it got to be a pat every time? But this is also before we establish healthy emotional intimacy. So for him, it was very, that was what it is. It's time. Okay. It's time for us to come together as husband and wife. We didn't have the emotional connection, so there was no desire for him to woo me, to court me, to excite me, to rev me up. It was pop. All right, it's time. Again, that emotional intimacy is the foundation of all the others.
Turn me down, though. Not once. Not once.
No, I ain't never turned it down. I took that pat every time. I sure did. Sure did.
So now, or did you get all of them? Did you miss one?
Where we at? You right there. Increase physical touch. Chris is talking about no sir. She tuned it up. Crystal, get out my business. I sure did.
So, another thing that we can do to bridge the gap is increase physical touch. And that was something that we also did too. Even our therapist, our couples therapist told us, and I think we talked about this last week too, but when we are having those tough conversations, no, this wasn't our therapist, this was Pastor. This was Pastor Ross, who was like, when we are having a disagreement, touch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, touch your spouse, or touch your partner. Like, put your hand on their lap.
Yeah.
Or put your hand on his knee or something. Like, but it's hard to be at odds while you touching.
That's
you
good.
know what I'm saying? It's hard to argue if y'all holding hands, or it's hard for you to be mad at her and fussing at her if she got her hands on your cheek, or you know what I'm saying, vice versa. I think that definitely helped us a lot too. Because
he
I know when
smacking me on the booty.
Yeah. It's about that. Yeah. But when she would be, upset with me, I just lean in and put my hand on her lap or whatever.
That's it.
And
Putty in his hands.
Figure it out. You know what I'm saying? It's so many simple things that just kind of diffuse those volatile situations, and then you start to work out how to get past this. And again, if that bond is strong, then it's not gonna be nothing too serious or nothing too hard to come back to together and get a solution for whatever it is y'all going through.
And this increase in physical touch, it releases hormones, it releases oxytocin, it makes us feel good, it reduces stress. It's hard to be intimate when you're stressed. But it also goes into this next barrier, or this next solution to these barriers, which is building tension to sex. So sex is better when we wait for it. When we have to wait for it and we've kind of been teasing each other, it makes the experience better. And I read this today. It said everything that a couple does together outside, everything that a couple does together is foreplay. So I think we get in our mind about, right? That's good, ain't it?
That's wild, dude.
we get in our mind about like what foreplay looks like, right? But as a couple, anything that we do, this right here is foreplay, right? Because we're touching, we're building, we're strengthening our emotional intimacy, right? All of this is helping to make when we come together tonight. Hint, hint.
I mean, but there is other foreplay, because I know what you was thinking. Stop it. I know what you was thinking. It is other foreplay, but this is just, the public acceptable.
Everything
public
a couple does together is foreplay.
Yeah.
So build out that tension. Tease him. Send him a picture. While he at work. Sometimes I just be getting dressed and I just stop and look in the mirror. Because I be like, girl, you look good. And I be like, let me send this picture to my husband. Right? Send him a picture. Tonight is the night. Tonight is the night. Okay? Alright. That go into that one too.
Yeah. Carve out time for intimacy. Yeah. Definitely when kids go to school.
Oh, come on, kids go to school.
Hey, ain't nobody at the house. What you got planned? What you want to do? I got time, you got time. Let's make this happen. Like we was home alone. And I'm sure that some of you may have felt this way before, but sometimes you just, I just wish that we can have the house to ourselves.
Yeah.
And when it happens, you gotta take advantage of that.
Take advantage of it.
You got to be swift though. You got to be swift, because every time you look up, these kids is out of school. So you do get the opportunity, and the kids is gone. Utilize it. Plan for it. Even when they they're gonna be doing like Addison, step practice. She's gonna be gone a little bit later than usual. So we gonna
baby, pull up to the job on a lunch break. Tell them to come outside to the car.
Yeah, pull up on me.
Pull up on them.
Pull up on me.
You know what time he take lunch at work?
Pull up on me.
Pull up on him.
Pull up on me.
All right. So make sure when you carve out time. Crystal said sometimes you need a big relief. Crystal, you better pull up to the job. Now you might not be able to do everything, but you can do a little something. Build that tension up. Okay. Make sure when you carve out this time that you all don't talk about nothing kids related, work related, problem related, stress related. This is your time to connect. We like to connect after this. Like after we do the podcast, we go sit on the patio and just be with each other. Like that's our time. Like kids are getting ready for bed, school in the morning, it's a school night, go to bed. He's off. So tonight is a perfect night for
it's almost time for him to get in bed.
It's almost time for him to get in bed now. Okay. Next, we're talking about. I was about to say something. It'll come back to me. Experimenting. Y'all, stop having the same boring sex over and over and over. Excuse me if that was a little too real, but I told y'all this was real talk about married life, sex, and intimacy. Stop having the same boring sex over and over and over.
They got all type of like flavored stuff, man. They got what else they got? Oh, well, no, I'm not gonna say
So I
that.
was gonna actually ask you because this conversation came up.
They got these things though. I do like these things though. Hold on, I mean, you can come back to that. They got this one. They got this one thing though. Like it comes with a remote, right?
Oh,
So what
yeah,
it is you get a remote to your spouse. So fellas, you have the remote, and there's a device at the other end of this remote
yeah,
that stays with your wife.
yeah.
And once you press said remote,
Talk about it.
it sends a signal to the device that sends a signal to your wife and reminds her just what time it is, right? And it goes in her underwear.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
panty vibrator, you
Yeah.
guys.
That's it. I thought it was called something else.
It's a panty vibrator.
Oh, I thought it was called, I don't know what it was called. But yes. And you take
Yes, Catrice. Y'all could be at dinner and he hits the button.
in church.
I was at a graduation party at our friend's house. That's where I was. And I'm across the room trying to fix me some meatballs and minding my business. He on the other side of the room just cracking up, hitting that button. Yes. So I was going to ask, how do you feel about sex toys being used by just the partner, by themselves? So you talked about the panty vibrator, like that's something that we're doing together. How do you feel about, me using a toy on my own without you, or you using a toy on your own without me?
I don't care. I mean, it don't bother me.
So I'm asking because some folks might feel like if you're using a toy, then there's something that you're not getting from me.
No, you just might want something right then and there. Like, what? That's like saying, cause you fix yourself a sandwich that your wife don't cook for you.
Oh my God!
Like, I just want a sandwich right now. Like, I'm gonna eat what you cook, but I just want a sandwich right now. Like,
oh, that is a really good example.
yeah.
He said, just because I fix myself a sandwich don't mean you don't cook for me. I like that. I'm going to eat what you fix. I just want a sandwich right now.
That's it. That's all. I just want a sandwich.
I'm going to eat them turkey and smothered wings and dressing. I'm going to eat all that.
Eat all that.
But right now, I just want me a little sandwich.
I want a bag of chips. I just want some fruit snacks. That's it.
Crystal said, "Wish you see your offering."
That's all I want.
So, you have to be able to, again, emotional intimacy to be able to have the conversations about what you like. Especially if you are the spouse that is a little bit more, okay, on the wild side. If you the spouse that need a little razzle dazzle from time to time, I'm just telling on myself. You have to be able to feel safe enough to tell your partner that, right? And then have the conversation. It has to be a judgment-free zone, right? It does not create emotional safety for me to come and tell you, like, I really want to try this. And you be like, girl, you nasty. I ain't gonna never tell you nothing else ever again. It has to be a judgment-free zone. Even if it's something that take you off your feet. Don't let them know that. Just process it. Baby, let me think about it.
Work on your face. Start working on your face, ladies. Because your face tell it all every time. Just work on those faces and being unshocked and just having a straight face. Work on it.
Baby, you want me to do what? You want to put what in my wear? Okay, let me think about it. Call your girlfriend. Say, girl, he said he wanted to. What you think about it? Right? But you have to keep it a safe place. Because a lot of, and I know, a lot of times where I've seen men be unfaithful, when they feel safe enough to share what it was, they were ashamed to tell their wives what they liked and what they were into. So it was easier to go down the street and find Miss Betty Sue, who he did not have expectations of. And what the song say? I need a lady in the street and a in the sheet. Okay.
That's what the song said.
You can't be missionary, evangelist, first lady, big hat, Church of God in Christ, Latter-day Saints 24/7, okay? You gotta take that hat off, you gotta hang it up, baby, you got to give. Okay.
He don't want to hear the word in the bedroom.
He don't want to hear the word in the bedroom.
Not unless y'all praying.
Unless you're
Unless you're praying, that's about it. If y'all ain't praying, he ain't trying to hear no word.
He trying to hear
He's
some
other
words.
Not the word.
Go to the next one.
Oh yeah, communicate your turnoffs. That is important too. That's just like you. This is what turns me on. What turns you off? That is just, you gotta communicate that just as well as you communicate the other. Because if they don't know, if they only know what turns you on and they just happen to do something else and it turns you off and you don't say nothing.
Yeah.
You know, don't assume.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's always gonna trip you up, just assuming like, oh, they should know, like, I don't like that or I like this.
Right.
No, just say it. Make it, verbalize it. Just
that's a turn off for me. I don't like when you do that. I don't like when you wear them raggedy drawers to bed.
Yeah.
That'll make me want to do it.
Yeah. Whatever it is, communicate it. I get, yeah. Well, no, that ain't never mind.
What's your best?
Trauma. Some people have traumas associated with sex.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is very important to have that conversation as well. Does this make you uncomfortable? Are you comfortable with this? How does it feel when I do this?
And pay attention.
You know,
to your spouse's response to you.
Yeah. I mean, you and moreover than that, pay attention to how their body responds as well.
Come on, body. That takes emotional connection.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So
I could literally be. This might be TMI. You know, y'all know I don't care. But I literally, he's so connected to me, sexually and emotionally, that there has never been a time ever that I don't think something in my head that I want him to do that he does not do it. I ain't talking about stuff we normally do. I'm talking about some off the wall stuff. I could think about it, be like, oh, I would love him to do this right there. And it ain't gonna be 60 seconds. And if that man ain't doing it, I'll be like, wait a minute. How this man can read my mind? He's connected to me in a way that allows him to feel me and sense my response and understand what that means. It is when I tell y'all sexual intimacy is at the top. It's at the top. But the emotional intimacy has just come and just taken that thing to another level. You have to cultivate that emotional intimacy. Change it up. So routine is the enemy of healthy intimacy. Crystal is cutting up.
That would be the same thing he was trying new things, wouldn't it?
No, so when I say change it up, so when we talk about experimenting, that's some stuff that's new to the both of us. That's coming into the bedroom. When I say change it up, I'm talking about the kind of sex you have. So, for example, if you are a love maker, right? It's really always slow and it's always really passionate and deep. Sometimes time, just change it up and just go for what you know. If you are someone who is typically likes it very rough or very like lack of passion, and I just want to just then try slowing it down. Try being a little passionate. Try being a little run a bath. You know, be a little romantic with it. Switch up the kind of sex. If y'all is only doing missionary every time, that ain't gonna work. A routine is the enemy of healthy sexual intimacy. You have to change it up. Try different kinds. Get a book. Get a book. Do some research. Read. Look at some. I'm laughing, but I'm so serious. Be spontaneous. Change up the places you have sex. You don't have to do it in the bedroom every time.
Don't go to jail.
Don't go to jail.
Don't go to jail outside, please. Don't go to jail.
Don't go to jail. But change it up. Not the cowgirl.
Within the law. Change it up.
Right, cowboy. Crystal is funny.
Just don't go to jail.
Change up the places you have sex. Be spontaneous. If y'all always have sex on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock, hit. Change it up. Try Monday afternoon.
In the shower.
In the shower.
In the kitchen. In the living room. In the backyard. In the car. Wherever. Just change it up. If you got enough room in the car.
Do the last
one. Okay. Know and practice your partner's turn-ons.
Yes.
Again, don't assume.
Don't assume.
Don't assume. And love them in their love language.
So, don't assume you know what turns your partner on. Don't assume what turned them on 10 years ago is still what gets them going today. Ask.
They've evolved.
They've evolved.
They've evolved.
They've evolved. Have the conversation. What turns you on? Also, loving them in their love languages. That's a turn on. That is a turn on. That is one of those non-sexual attractions. When you are being loved well in the way that you receive love, you're going to be turned on.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to understand their love language. You can't be providing acts of service and their love language is words of affirmation and quality time. They're not going to receive that as love, right? You have to know what their love language is. And the more that you practice that, the more that you, baby, if I come home and he done cleaned the whole house, oh, you finna get it right then and there. I am turned on. I done came home and he know it. When I go out of town, because I travel a lot, either for work or whatever, when I come home, if he's had the space to do it, like he hasn't been busy at work or with other things, he loves to clean the house. He'll have a nice smelling candle going. He'll have some of my favorite things on my nightstand waiting for me. He'll have my dark chocolate waiting for me. He'll have fresh flowers waiting for me, right? Because these are all the things he knows I receive as love. You think Mr. Pontoo ain't finna get it? Right? It's not always sexual things. And also, this is important too. For those who are the initiators, backing up to initiators and responders, if you are a responder, you need to practice initiating. If you are an initiator, you need to practice letting your spouse know that you are interested without being so direct. So if you usually are the one that's going to grab on her and come here, girl, and how can you do that in a way that is a little more subtle, a little sexier, not so aggressive, right? So then that gives me the bridge to
Let me let you little mama.
to initiate. How I love the way that dress fit you, baby. Mm-hmm. Right? That's gonna hit different than you pulling on me.
That thing sitting up in them jeans.
That's all we got, y'all. I don't got nothing else. So, my challenge to you, our challenge to you is have those conversations about the different kinds of intimacy. We talked about physical, sexual, emotional, intellectual, creative, experiential, and spiritual. Which one are you doing really, really well? And which area do you all need to cultivate as a couple a little bit more? And try to incorporate some opportunities to enhance your emotional intimacy. The more emotional intimacy that you have, the stronger that emotional connection is, the stronger all of those other areas will be. And try some of these strategies. I'll post them in the group this week to remind you. But so make sure that you're liking or that you're following the Gray Area page. But try some of these strategies.
Mm-hmm. It will work.
Something
gonna work.
Some gonna work.
Some gonna work. Some gonna work.
She said, "Why?" My daughter said, "Why you and Daddy was in the office that early, minding our business."
We was talking.
You got any closing words?
Yeah, I mean, intimacy can look any way you want it to look. It depends on you. It's all up to you how you want intimacy in your relationship to look. So, make it work for you.
Right.
However, you need to get there, and like I said, something will work. You know what I'm saying? Just try them all and see which ones, you like the best and which ones you like the least. Just, do away with them, but just try something. And I'm telling you, something gonna work. Something gonna work, you know what I'm saying? And if nothing work, role play.
Oh, we can talk about role play.
We did.
We can talk about role playing with changing it up. So something that we do. Huh?
You gotta go.
I know. I'm gonna tell them about role play and then we're about to go. So we like to role play, and we do stranger in a bar role play. So sometimes when we go to the bar, we this is Sheila. Sometimes when we go to the bar, we pretend like we're strangers, and so he'll come up to me and he'll ask me my name, and we'll make up a name and we'll flirt with each other, and he'll I'll try. So listen, y'all, this is so funny. I don't think I've ever told you this. Phil is such a gentleman when we role play. It is so, I'm like, why are you like this? He is such a gentleman when we role play. He acts like we're not married. And so I remember one day in particular, one night, I was really trying to get this man to take me home. He would not take me home. He would not take me home. I literally was just telling this man, like, you want to come back to my place? He was like, no, that's okay. Like, oh, we just met. And I'm like, bro, we are married. I don't need you to be, don't be a gentleman right now. I need you to, it's a song that I wanted to sing, but I ain't going to sing it right now. But he would not take me home, y'all. He was such a gentleman. We had a role play that lasted for about 5 days, where we were literally texting from different numbers, how you can have a text now number. So we were literally texting it was like we were full on in character. This man was so respectable. I was like, don't call me no more. Chris is gonna say, make her wait for it. He did, literally in real life too. So I'm like, bro, I need you to be a little aggressive or something with me. He was so mannerable as his role playing. And I'm like, he tried to take me out on a date. And I told him no. I told the character no. I broke up with our role play person because he went in.
My body, my choice.
I Man, you can't be for real. I threw myself at him, okay? And he turned it down. Like we ain't married, y'all. But anyway, try role playing. Like climb in the window, put on a ski mask.
Don't go to jail again. Don't go to jail. Please don't go to jail. Oh my God. Don't go to jail. I don't want you to go to jail. Don't go to jail. Please don't go to jail.
He did. I felt so judged, Crystal. I was like, oh, am I too wild for you? Cause why you ain't picking up what I'm putting down? So this is me telling you, the next time we role play, baby, I need you to treat me like your name is Corday. I need Corday to come outside. Yeah, you know, I remember them stories about Corday. I remember. Y'all, thank y'all for tuning in to episode 4 of The Gray Area. If you're watching our replay, make sure to put hashtag Life in the Gray in the comments. If you did not watch episode 3 from last week, please go back and watch it. Phenomenal conversation that we had. Again, put Life in the Gray, hashtag Life in the Gray in the comments. And continue to submit your topics. We want to hear from you. We're also processing what it could look like to have guests on the show. We've had several requests for folks to join as a guest. And so we will be inviting some of you to join shortly if you're interested in being a guest on The Gray Area. It was Carlos. I thought you used Corday sometimes.
No, very out. Corday was when I was out the country.
But Carlos was the one. Yeah, I want to meet Carlos. Can I meet him? Continue to put your topics. Let us know what you want to talk about. If you want to be a guest on The Gray Area, inbox me. And we gonna catch y'all next week. Dear, leave her. Next time, just take her to the bathroom, dear. Leave her at the bar. Good night, y'all. Go.
Leave her with the bill.
I think somebody said church when we were talking about places to do it. I think somebody said church. That's wild.
No, that was
What? Spiritual intimacy, you think that's what they were talking about?
no, because I said church to something.
Oh. What'd you say?
I can't remember which one it was. I don't remember what I said it to, though.
Yeah. They might have been responding to you because I think they had question marks. Like church. Oh, thank you, dear Kasia. She sent some gifts. Church, question mark. I'm going to ask her what you said that made her...
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to remember. Was it